Hello, hello. So we're going to have today's math lesson via video since you couldn't make it to Zoom. So you'll want to make sure you have this paper, which has this on the back. You'll want to have something to color with, and you'll also want to make sure you have your fraction flip book. So if you don't have those things yet, go ahead and grab them, pause the video and go grab them, and then we'll be ready to be started. Okay, so you have your items. We're going to start on this side of today's lesson, or today's worksheet. So in the last 2 days, we've been comparing fractions, right? Deciding which one is greater. And we've been using our fraction flip book, but we've also been using our knowledge about fractions, right? The first day was just comparing fractions with the same denominator. So if we were looking at eighths, we see that all those fractions are the same size. So if I have 2/8 and you've got 4/8, you have more than me, right? 4/8 is greater than 2/8. So we just had to look at the numerator, the top number, to decide which was more. Now, yesterday's lesson was all about comparing fractions with the same numerator. So we might be looking at 1/2 versus 1/3, same top number. Now we're looking at the bottom numbers, and the bigger the bigger fraction has a smaller number. Right, so it's a little bit wacky. But again, fraction flip book really helps. Now today we're going to be comparing fractions that have nothing in common. So if we look at our first one on our worksheet, we've got 2/3 and 5/6. So there's nothing that we can really think about and kind of logically understand unless we either use a fraction flip book, or I'm going to show you another trick in a little bit. Luckily, they have printed out the thirds and the sixths right next to it. So what you'll want to do is color in 2 of the thirds. So I'm going to do that with my highlighter. You can do that with any kind of color. And you'll just color in 2 of them, starting at the left. And then you'll color in how many 6? 5 of the 6. So color in 5 of the 6. And you will see which one is bigger. That's right. 5/6 is greater than 2/3, or 2/3 is less than 5/6, because we always want the alligator mouth to point towards the bigger fraction. Now, we won't always have it printed out for us, and that's where the fraction flip book comes in handy. So again, you'll be able to use this on everything. So we would look at the thirds, starting at the left always like a number line. 2/3 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look, 5/6 is almost the whole candy bar, or the whole fraction, whereas 2/3 is pretty close to half. So 2/3 is less than 5/6. Let's look at the next one on here. We are doing 1/2 and 3/10. Do you want to take a guess as you color? Do you know what it might be? So I'm coloring in 1/2, and I'm coloring in just 3 of the tenths. My goodness, those tenths are pretty small. Oh, I didn't color very well. Uh-oh, I need a lesson in coloring. So we can see 1/2, 3/10. 1/2 is greater than 3/10. So we'll do one more together, and then I'm going to have you do the rest on your own. 6/8 and 3/4. All right, the eighths are on top. I'm going to color in 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It seems to be a lot of them. Almost the whole thing. And now I'm doing 3 of the fourths. I'm noticing something as I color. Do you notice it too? As you color? It's the same amount. So if I had 6/8 of a pizza and you had 3/4 of a pizza, we would be eating the same amount of pizza. That's going to be important next week as we talk about equivalent fractions. You get a little sneak peek. So 6/8 is equal to 3/4. So you kind of understand what to do with the rest of the sheet. Now on the back, I might split it to 2 sheets. On the back, it's just fractions with a circle in the middle. So you would have to use your fraction flip book to figure out which one's greater. but I'm also going to teach you a little trick. This is called cross multiplying, and I bet your parents know all about cross multiplying. And this is when we don't have our fraction flip books handy, and we need to start being able to compare fractions a little quicker. So I will do a few examples on this page for you, so you'll have those answers. And then you can either use your fraction flip book or this little trick I'm going to show you called cross multiplication to solve for the rest of the page. All right, the first one is 4/8 versus 2/8. Well, this happens to be one of those that's the same denominator. I'm still going to show you the trick, but we already know the answer, don't we? We're talking about eighths and eighths, we know that those fraction pieces are the same size. I think that's what I talked about at the beginning of the video. 2/8, 4/8. So the fraction pieces, the eighths are all the same size, but I have 2, you have 4, you have more. So we know that this is going to be the answer, but I'm going to show you how cross multiplying will also get us the same right answer. So I'm just going to erase this for a minute. Here's how cross multiplying works. We are going to multiply across the fractions. We take the bottom number and the top number, and I like to circle them because you'll see in a moment. So what is 8 times 2? And here's where multiplying, where we've been practicing multiplying, this is where it helps. 8 times 2 is 16. We're going to put the 16 up here in the air next to the numerator. Okay? Then we do the same thing with this side. 8 times 4. You see how it's made an X or cross? 8 times 4, now that might be a trickier one. That's 32. Again, we're going to write it up here next to the numerator. Which is more, 32 or 16? Right, 32 is. And look, that means this fraction, 4/8, is greater than 2/8. So cross multiplying is just another way to also prove your answer. I'll do another one. Cross multiplying is kind of fun. All right, and we've got, trying to find some that don't have anything in common. This looks like all of them. Oh no. Well, let me show you one that's not on the paper, because it looks like all of these are either same numerators or same denominators. They are. Well, that's still good practice. Let's do another one just randomly to show you cross multiplying. All right. How about 3/5 and 1/9? I'm going to take a guess which one's bigger. Any guesses? So remember, we cross the fractions and we multiply. 5 times 1 is 5. We put it up here. And then we cross the other way. 9 times 3, you know that one? 27. We put it up there. Always put what we've multiplied up next to the numerators. 27 is way more than 5, so 3/5 is way more than 1/9. Again, we can see that on our fraction flip book. So lots of different ways to prove that your fractions are more or less than one another. Cross multiplying is a nice way to check our work, but if I were to ask you a problem solving question and I said, how can you tell 3/5 is more than 1/9? I would want you to discuss the size of the fractions and how many pieces you have and things like that, instead of just saying, well, I cross multiplied and one was bigger than the other. But we'll talk more about that when you're in school, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Take care.